We are going into 2024 elections, man, and vulnerable people are about to be used again. Today, guys, today's episode is nothing but conspiracy theories. Do not come here and tell Thomas you are lying, man. This whole thing will not happen like that, man. Everything that I'm going to say on this episode today is nothing but conspiracy theory. Conspiracy theories. I love conspiracy theories, man. You know, conspiracy theories, they allow you to think of wild scenarios. I love conspiracy theories, man. No one loves conspiracy theories like me. I love of thinking like the wildest stuff can actually happen. So, guys, Jacob Zuma has finally made his big announcement that he's not going to campaign or vote for the African National Congress in 2024. You know, when Zuma made that announcement, two things came to my mind. Guys, I told you, this is conspiracy theory show. Guys, do not come and tell me that I'm wrong or I'm right. Or no, guys, this, like what I say on this episode today, is nothing but conspiracy theories. When Jacob Zuma announced that he's not going to campaign for the African National Congress or vote for the African National Congress, man, two things came to my mind. First, Jacob Zuma wants the African National Congress to expel him. Jacob Zuma knows if the African National Congress expels him, they're going to lose a lot of support. Jacob Zuma knows that by staying as a member of the African National Congress and advocating for another party, it is actually going to push the African National Congress to expel him. And when the African National Congress expels him, they're going to lose a lot of support. So why would Jacob Zuma want the African National Congress to expel him? This is where the conspiracy theory comes. Jacob Zuma wants to run for presidency again in 2024. Jacob Zuma wants to go against President Ramaphosa in 2024. Jacob Zuma told you that this MK thing is no different from the African National Congress. But this is the African National Congress that they, the comrades, can recognize, because what Ramaphosa has turned into the current African National Congress is nothing but the project of white monopoly capital. This is according to Jacob Zuma. So Jacob Zuma actually wants to run for presidency in 2024. Jacob Zuma wants to be the president of the country again in 2024. If he's not the president of the country in 2024, he wants to be in parliament in 2024. The second thing that came to my mind is that I know right now I'm going to give ANC a whole lot of credit, but because today it is conspiracy theory show, I think everything goes. This whole MK thing was concocted by the African National Congress. This is the reason why Jacob Zuma is still the member of the African National Congress, despite him advocating for this new MK party. The leadership of the African National Congress understands that the party is going to die. The supporters of the African National Congress understands that the party is going to die. You know, when you look at the African National Congress, it's like looking at someone on a deathbed. You can see that there is no hope for this person, man. One day I'm going to come in this room and this person will be no more. This is exactly what the leadership of the African National Congress can see with the current ANC. That in 10, 15 years, the party would officially be dead. So the African National Congress might as well concoct a whole new African National Congress with Jacob Zuma, telling South Africans that, guys, this is the original African National Congress. So in 2024, we might see the African National Congress of Ramaphosa going against the African National Congress of Jacob Zuma. South Africans are going to think that the African National Congress of Zuma is different from the African National Congress of Ramaphosa. They would forget that this whole nonsense that is happening on the base of African National Congress. So the African National Congress concocted this whole MK thing, understanding that their party is dying, understanding that the support is dying. But they can see that people like Jacob Zuma, they still have a lot of support. They still have a lot of people supporting them. So the African National Congress leadership sat down and said, guys, this party as we know it is about to die. But we cannot lose the benefits of being in government. We can't lose the benefits of being in government. We need to be in parliament. we need to make sure that when this party continues to die, we have another party that is growing inside of parliament. So one day South Africans are going to wake up with the current ANC they know dead, with MK in parliament. Different names, still ANC cadres. This is why I think Jacob Zuma is still the member of the African National Congress. All that hullabaloo that Jacob Zuma was doing with his daughter over the weekend, complaining about what the African National Congress is doing. You heard Zuma's daughter. She had a meltdown live on a national television, telling South Africans that, man, the African National Congress is failing to hold President Ramaphosa accountable. The African National Congress has allowed President Ramaphosa to get away with this. The African National Congress has allowed Ramaphosa to get away with that. She actually wants South Africans to force the ANC to hold Ramaphosa accountable. Why would Jacob Zuma's daughter do that? Jacob Zuma's daughter understands that South Africans, men, especially majority of poor black people in this country, they are very gullible. They don't have a long memory. They really have a short memory. They have a short memory. Why? Because majority of black people in this country, men, forgot that the African National Congress protected Jacob Zuma for years. If it wasn't for the African National Congress, Jacob Zuma would be impeached a long time ago. So Jacob Zuma's daughter, Jacob Zuma the man, they enjoyed while the African National Congress protected him. But today, the African National Congress is doing what is known for, which is protecting its leaders. They are not happy about it. Today, they are talking about accountability. Where was accountability when Jacob Zuma and the Gupta's men were running amok in this country? Where was accountability then? Where was accountability? You want Ramaphosa to be held accountable by the ANC. You didn't say nothing about the ANC and holding Zuma accountable when Zuma was still the president. They are simply confusing people, man. They are confusing people. They are playing with people's emotions. They are confusing people. These are the same people, man. These are the same cadres of the ANC. Whether they come with a new name or whether they come with a new political party, man, these are the still ANC members. I mean, what is it exactly that Jacob Zuma can offer to South Africans right now? This guy was the president of the country for nearly 10 years. What can Jacob Zuma offer to South Africans now? Besides apartheid, colonialism, and white monopoly capital. What is it exactly these people can offer to South Africans? Nothing. These people can offer nothing to South Africans. And this is why I said today this is conspiracy theory show. Because I actually think that this whole MK party was concocted by the African National Congress. I think the African National Congress leaders have made peace with the fact that one day we are going to lose power. But we are going to lose power, but we are not going to lose the benefits. We may lose power, but we are not going to lose the benefits. That's why we need to be in parliament under the MK. When the ANC dies, we need to be in parliament under the MK. So South Africans are going to vote for the same ANC cadres, thinking that they are voting for something different. They are going to vote for MK, thinking that MK is different from the African National Congress. But these cadres, man, they understand that majority of poor people in this country, man, they are gullible, man. They do not have a critical think. Today's show, man, is conspiracy theory show. It's either Jacob Zuma is serious and actually wants the African National Congress to expel him so that he can campaign, so that he can be on the ballot in 2024 and go against Ramaphosa head on. Or it's either the whole thing of Jacob Zuma going against Ramaphosa was concocted by the African National Congress to divert the attention from the EFF, to divert the attention from the patriotic alliances and the action essays of this world. I think this was done by the African National Congress to divert attention. Because after all, whether you vote for the party of Zuma or whether you vote for the party of Ramaphosa, at the end of the day, you still gave ANC your choice. You still gave ANC your vote. Whether you vote for MK, whether you vote for this ANC, at the end of the day, you still give ANC a vote. Come 2024, you are about to see vulnerable South Africans, man. You're about to see vulnerable South Africans. Right now, Zuma's daughter is even talking about the fact that Ramaphosa's ANC allowed a situation where Zuma was arrested without any trial. This is what these people are telling to the people. That Ramaphosa's ANC allowed Zuma to be arrested without a trial. They want people to actually think that Jacob Zuma went to jail because of what he was charged with and not given a chance to actually defend himself. They are not telling the people that Zuma spent his whole life saying that he wants his day in court and spent the last 10 years avoiding having his day in court. This was the reason why Jacob Zuma was thrown in jail. Jacob Zuma being thrown to jail had nothing to do with the charges. Jacob Zuma going to jail had anything to do with him not wanting to comply with the court. They are not telling the people that. They are not telling the people that. They say Jacob Zuma was thrown to jail without trial. They are not telling the people that Jacob Zuma, man, actually was not complying with the court. This is why the courts had to say, man, you had to go to jail, man. We can't allow you to do as you please. But you know, the supporters of Jacob Zuma, man, they believe that the man is above the law. Jacob Zuma's daughter also believed that her father is above the law. This is why they had a problem with Zuma actually not complying with the court and being thrown to jail. They said ANC, Ramaphosa's ANC, allowed a situation where 400 people were massacred during those June-July unrest. You remember when Jacob Zuma was rightfully arrested in 2021, massacres broke out in the country. You remember people breaking out in the malls, people looting the malls. They are blaming Ramaphosa's ANC for that. They are not saying anything about the fact that all of those things were done in the name of protecting Jacob Zuma. They say nothing about the fact that Jacob Zuma said nothing. When people destroyed the malls, when people destroyed the infrastructure, Jacob Zuma said nothing because these people destroyed the infrastructure in his name. In his name. Jacob Zuma didn't say nothing. Did Jacob Zuma release a press statement? Did Jacob Zuma make a video telling people that, guys, do not destroy property in my name? People right now have lost their jobs. We have people right now in South Africa that have lost their jobs because the malls they worked at were burned down. You have people right now who are sitting at home because their workplaces were terrorized by supporters of Jacob Zuma. Why? Because they were not happy Jacob Zuma was arrested. So what is it going to happen if Jacob Zuma loses the elections in 2024 and Jacob Zuma says, man, these elections are rigged? I told you guys, today's show is nothing but conspiracy theory. It's 2024. African National Congress wins the elections. Jacob Zuma comes out and says the African National Congress has rigged the elections. What do you think is going to happen? If people, man, didn't think twice about destroying other people's livelihoods to defend Jacob Zuma, what do you think is going to happen when Jacob Zuma says these people stole the elections away from us? Do you think that Jacob Zuma's supporters are going to sit back and say, it's fine, man, you can go to the courts? You already know Jacob Zuma told his supporters that the courts in South Africa are not in his favor. So going to the courts is not going to work. What is the next? What should be their next move? Protesting. Chaos. Burning things. This might actually happening in 2024. Because what if Jacob Zuma actually hates the ANC right now and he no longer wants anything to do with the African National Congress? He knows that he can give the African National Congress the biggest headache by simply saying that, man, these elections were rigged. This is the same thing that the Democrats are afraid of going into the elections in America in 2024. They are afraid of this thing when it comes to Donald Trump. Because Donald Trump does not want to admit that he lost the elections to Joe Biden. Donald Trump does not want to admit. The same way Hillary Clinton didn't want to admit. So this thing might actually happen in South Africa in 2024. What if Jacob Zuma says, man, I know the tactics of the African National Congress, man. I know the African National Congress did 1, 2, 3. There will be chaos in this country. There will be chaos in this country. And you know when there is chaos in this country, parties like this, MK, are going to rise. Parties like MK are going to rise when there is chaos in this country. Guys, I don't know, man. I don't know. I know I'm not right. I know I'm not wrong. Today's show is nothing but conspiracy theory. I'm just thinking out loud. I'm thinking these are the things that could actually happen in 2024. What if these people, man, what if Jacob Zuma, man, teams up with the EFF? I know, again, it's a wild scenario. I know it's a very wild scenario. I know this scenario is wild. What if MK teams up with EFF next year? What if EFF and MK after the elections next year, they say, guys, no, man, actually these elections were not free and fair? What do you think is going to happen to South Africa? Do you think the supporters of the EFF are going to sit still when Julius Malema tells them that, guys, these people have stolen the elections from us? Do you think his supporters are going to sit still? On the other side, you have Jacob Zuma telling his MK supporters that, guys, the ANC has rigged the elections. Are we going to allow these people? Before you even know it, you have Jacob Zuma as the president of the country. You have Julius Malema as the deputy president of the country. This is conspiracy theory show today. This is conspiracy theory today. What if this thing can happen? Because I can tell you, parties like MK, parties like the EFF, man, they're simply waiting for something to break out in the country. Then you are going to see their support is going to rise. You see all of these progressives that are trying to sit people down and try to have these conversations about what is happening in the country and try to have conversations like adults about what is happening in the country. Man, it is not going to happen. After the elections, man, wild scenario. After the elections, man, Jacob Zuma says, man, these elections are rigged. Julius Malema says, man, fighters, the African National Congress has stolen the elections from us. Let's say the EFF goes from 10% to now 7%. And Julius Malema comes out and says, man, these people have stolen the elections from us. Do you think the EFF supporters are going to sit still? Man, you are playing. Do you think if Jacob Zuma comes out and says, man, I know the tactics of the African National Congress, this is how these people do these things, do you think his supporters are going to sit still? The supporters of Jacob Zuma, man, they are active. The supporters of Julius Malema, they are active. So if these people want, they can actually take over this country with a military coup. Thomas, now you are talking nonsense. We could actually witness a military coup in South Africa in 2024. And people are sitting like nothing is happening. Man, we could actually see this. I think this party of Jacob Zuma being named the MK after the ANC military wing, it was very deliberate. Very deliberate. It's ANC military wing. Military, they don't do the democratic processes. So why should Jacob Zuma believe in democratic processes? Jacob Zuma has already proven that he doesn't believe in democratic processes. This man didn't want to comply with the court and went out and told these people that, man, these people have arrested me without trial. He's not telling his people that, man, these people, man, I don't want to comply with their laws because I actually think they have something on me. Jacob Zuma does not believe in democratic processes. Julius Malema does not believe in democratic processes. Question is, where is our military in all of this? We need to know how loyal our military is to our government at this position. We could witness a military coup in South Africa in 2024. I know this is wild, guys. I know this is wild. This is wild. I know these scenarios are wild, but I'm just thinking out loud. I'm just thinking out loud. And the vulnerable, poor South Africans are the ones that are going to be used. They are going to be used. It is going to be easy for people like Jacob Zuma to team up with Julius Malema and to fool South Africans, man. Julius Malema will be there, man. Guys, we are taking and we are expropriating land without compensation. We are expropriating land without compensation. Jacob Zuma will be there telling people that, guys, it's time to get on with the white monopoly capital, guys. It's time to attack. You know that the majority of poor people in this country, they are vulnerable, man. They cannot even apply their critical thinking. People will be out there burning down the malls. Just like when, like you remember with Jacob Zuma, they literally burned down the malls. They literally broke down infrastructure because they wanted to protect Jacob Zuma so much, because they were so angry with Jacob Zuma going to jail. So what if Jacob Zuma loses the elections and says that these elections were rigged? What if EFF goes from 10% to 80% and Julius Malema says, these people have stolen the elections from us? Do you guys think of that scenario of Jacob Zuma teaming up with Julius Malema? I know that scenario is wild. Guys, today I am not right, I am not wrong. Today's show is nothing but conspiracy theory. Nothing but conspiracy theory. I don't know if my thoughts are all over the place, but I'm thinking that there's something big that these people are planning. There's something much more big than these people are planning. There is something big. Kalnias joining the EFF. Jacob Zuma advocating for MK. And why would Kalnias join the EFF when Kalnias knows that Jacob Zuma is going to go and launch MK? Is Kalnias going to be the middleman between Julius Malema and Zuma? Is Kalnias going to be an errand boy between Julius Malema and Zuma? I'm trying to connect the dots here, guys. I'm trying to connect the dots. Because I actually think that there's a chance of South Africa witnessing a military coup in 2024. Today's show is nothing but conspiracy theory, guys. Please tell me what you think on the comment section. Don't forget to hit that like button. And the most important part is subscribe. My name is Thomas Mabas, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.